ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Russia and Iran accused of interfering with the presidential election. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. The FBI is now warning about intimidating emails or messages sent to voters. Our ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura has more on the plot uncovered less than 2 weeks from the election.
Federal officials are accusing Iran and Russia of trying to disrupt the political process, saying they've obtained voter information and have even begun contacting people. At a news conference Wednesday, the Director of National Intelligence and the head of the FBI announced that Russia and Iran are attempting to meddle in the election, saying voter information has been obtained by Iran and then separately by Russia.
This data can be used by foreign actors to attempt to communicate false information to registered voters that they hope will cause confusion, sow chaos, and undermine your confidence in American democracy.
Adding, Iran has already used the information to contact voters.
We have already seen Iran sending spoofed emails designed to intimidate voters, incite social unrest.
While officials did not describe the emails, those familiar with the matter told ABC News the U.S. has linked Iran to messages sent to 4 states, including battleground states. The emails falsely claimed to be from a far-right group, warning they will come after the recipients if they didn't vote for President Trump.
The two things that make this a savvy attack is that it focuses on pivotal voters in a swing state. And secondly, that it both is an attempt to stop Democratic voters from turning out, but also cast blame potentially unfairly on the Republican Party.
Thad Kauser is a political science professor at UC San Diego. He says the concern is whether there are or will be other efforts to influence or undermine the election.
I don't think that this individual scheme is going to swing voters one way or the other, but the question is this the tip of the iceberg? This is what they've caught, which is commendable. What else is going on? That needs to be the focus for the next 2 weeks.
Officials have promised they will keep the election safe and fair.
You should be confident that your vote counts. Early, unverified claims to the contrary should be viewed with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
A spokesman for Iran's mission to the United Nations has denied Tehran's involvement.
New at 11, a good friend arrested in the tragic murder of a Chula Vista mother back in August. Chula Vista police say they arrested 28-year-old Vanessa Gastello for the murder of Cristina Garcia. Garcia's body was found in a field near the 3100 block of Main Street on August 5th. We spoke with Garcia's mother tonight, who said she's happy that someone is in jail for her daughter's murder, but devastated the suspect was her daughter's friend since middle school.
Everybody's devastated in Vanessa's family about my daughter, and as we are. We were very close. We went to Thanksgivings together and we celebrated a lot together, but I still have a lot of love for Vanessa's family.
Police are still looking for help with this case. They ask anyone with information to please call Crime Stoppers.
The difference between us being in red and purple tier this week was 2 cases.
That's right. San Diego County was just 2 coronavirus cases away from dropping back into the most restrictive purple tier. For weeks, our county has been on the verge of more restrictions, forcing many non-essential businesses to move outside once again. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo shows us the desperate warning from county leaders, urging us to be vigilant before it's too late.
It wasn't all bad news. The county was able to improve their health equity metric, meaning cases in underserved communities are slowly getting better. Even then, county officials say we can't let our guard down. Another week on edge for San Diego County as it narrowly escaped falling into the purple most restrictive tier.
Yesterday we dodged a bullet as it related to the tiered structure. We could not have gotten any closer to the purple tier without tripping into it than we did.
Now the pressure is on to stay in the red tier come next week.
The difference between us being in red and purple tier this week was 2 cases that should not have been in our count.
Wednesday's adjusted case rate is 7. County officials say their testing efforts contributed to that adjusted number. Dr. Wilma Wooten says there isn't a specific event or outbreak leading to the high case rate.
What's happening is people are lowering their guards, going back to how they functioned before COVID-19.
The county is also looking ahead to Election Day, asking people to mail in their ballots, but also reassuring voters that if they choose to go in person, it will be safe as long as voters follow the health guidelines.
Let me just say the election is November 3rd. I do not want to be standing here with Dr. Wooten 14 days later talking about Election Day as a statistic.
Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
And here are the latest numbers. The county reported 263 new cases today. That brings our total to 53,200. There were also 6 deaths, bringing that total to 863.
Leaders from Southern California's largest theme parks say the governor's new guidelines could keep them closed for months. Today, the president of Legoland said the guidelines don't make sense, especially considering stadiums and indoor malls can open sooner.
Theme parks create a 100% controlled environment with temperature checks for all guests, mask enforcement, increased sanitization protocols, social distancing, measures that far exceed most daily life experiences and any other leisure activities.
The new guidelines block larger theme parks from reopening at 25% capacity until their counties reach the state's least restrictive tier. San Diego and Orange counties are 2 tiers away, while LA is still in the state's most restrictive tier.
An appeals court is ordering San Quentin to cut its population by more than 50% because of the pandemic. The prison had one of the worst outbreaks in the country with 28 deaths and 2,200 infections. If San Quentin officials don't appeal that decision, the prison will have to parole or transfer about 1,100 of their inmates. You can stay on top of any new developments with coronavirus by downloading the 10 News app. A free version is available in the App Store. Election Day is now just 13 days away, and President Trump is keeping a busy schedule and a swing state blitz, while Vice President Joe Biden is off the campaign trail and relying on a powerful surrogate. ABC's Marcia Gonzalez is in Nashville, where the 2 candidates will face off in a second and final debate tomorrow night.
For the first time this election season, former President Barack Obama on the campaign trail.
I get that this president wants full credit for the economy he inherited and zero blame for the pandemic that he ignored. But you know what? The job doesn't work that way.
Attacking President Trump at this drive-in rally in Pennsylvania while stumping for his former Vice President Joe Biden in what's become a must-win state.
You guys delivered for me twice, and I am back here tonight to ask you to deliver the White House for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Meanwhile, Biden has spent this week in his home state of Delaware preparing for Thursday night's debate that'll be held here at Belmont University in Nashville. The debate commission announcing in an effort to limit the interruptions that dominated the first debate, this time microphones will be silenced some of the time when it's not the candidate's turn to answer questions. They have contrasting thoughts on that.
I think there should be more limitations on us not interrupting one another.
Well, I think the mute is very unfair.
President Trump criticizing the debate rules, the moderator, and the topics that will be covered.
And I think it's very bad that they're not talking about foreign affairs. They're supposed to be talking about foreign affairs. And I think that the anchor is a very biased person. Her parents are very biased.
And while he says he is preparing for the face-off, his focus remains on the campaign trail. The president, who is trailing in most polls, spending this week holding rallies in key swing states, the latest in North Carolina.
It's time to send a message to these wealthy liberal hypocrites by delivering Joe Biden a thundering defeat on November 3rd.
Marcia Gonzalez, ABC News, Nashville.
You can watch the final presidential debate tomorrow right here on ABC 10. Coverage begins here at 5 o'clock after ABC 10 News at 4. And the debate gets underway at 6, followed by a special edition of ABC 10 News at 8.
The San Diego County Registrar of Voters has already received 560,000 ballots. That's more than 3 times the amount received at this point before the 2016 election. Mail-in ballots were sent to all 1.9 million registered voters in the county, and nearly a quarter have already been returned and processed. For people who prefer to vote early in person, the registrar is open weekdays from 8 to 5.
A standoff lasting more than 19 hours in City Heights is finally over. A domestic violence suspect was sitting on the roof of an apartment on 35th near Polk since 2:30 a.m. Police say the man ran up there after the mother of his child called 911 to say he broke into her home on Wilson Avenue. At one point, officers say he was throwing tiles at them from the roof. Police were able to finally get him into custody shortly after 9 o'clock this evening.
Investigators with the DEA found a secondary marijuana grow today while investigating another illegal grow in Rancho Penasquitos. ABC 10 News broke this story exclusively at 6 o'clock last night. More than 2,000 plants were found near a popular trail in the Del Mar Mesa Preserve. The DEA says it found another 50 plants while investigating today. Neighbors say one of their big concerns with the grow is the potential for fire danger.
If a spark goes up from the camp, this whole cul-de-sac is gone. Because I don't know. I always watch during fire season. I always watch to see if there's smoke in the front or the back, because I have open area in the back too.
The DEA says it has not yet found anyone responsible for that illegal operation.